Even the comic book world delves into this trope with Y the Last Man.
Now, I've actually read a couple of volumes of Y the Last Man, and it is actually a pretty good comic book series, with somewhat deep, engaging plot lines and a fairly interesting world. But she isn't going to focus on that. She's going to focus all her problems on one little thing.
When all the men on Earth die except for one, there is an extremist, homicidal group called Daughters of the Amazons. The violent vigilante group is founded on the disdain and hatred of men, and anyone who mourns the death of men, even though there aren't any more men.
Here's a crazy and stupid notion. Rather than bitching and complaining about the comic books, why didn't she go out there and make her own comic books? I'd have more respect for her if she did that.
Let's get back to Veronica Mars. There's a 9-episode story arc in the 3rd season about a series of rapes that occur on the university campus. A group of straw feminists on campus hold demonstrations, volunteer with the Ride Home Safe campus program to escort young women home, and demand that the university institute an official sexual code of conduct. All of these are logical, rational, and important steps to creating safer college campuses. However, the writers quickly dismiss these characters as irrational, stubborn, pig-headed man-haters, and it serves to fulfill the tired old stereotype about angry and militant women of color.
And what's your fucking point then?
The writers of Veronica Mars take the straw feminists to an obscene level by actually having them fake a rape in order to blame the fraternity.
And as we all know, women have never ever accused or lied about that sort of thing. Heck, I've even read one feminist blog saying it was okay for women to accuse men of being rapists so they know how it feels to be accused of it. Which is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Women lying about sexual assault is a grossly overused myth. Women generally don't put themselves through the social shame of admitting assault for petty personal revenge.
Okay, I have no facts or figures, but are you telling me that nobody has ever lied for revenge? You're naive at best.
In just a handful of episodes, the creators of Veronica Mars undermined the work that thousands of students are doing globally on their campuses to end violence against women. While we see the straw feminist over and over again in television and movies, it's also unfortunately deployed on a regular basis by American talk shows and news pundits. Mainstream religious and conservative news media often attack women with deliberate misrepresentations and extreme exaggerations of what feminism is.
As previously mentioned, I think feminism is about as much use as a cock-flavoured lollipop. All they seem to do nowadays is accuse men of being rapists and complaining about hardcore pornography.
This false impression has been infused into the mainstream by popular talk show hosts such as Michael Savage, Glenn Beck, and Bill O'Reilly.
Well, frankly, they have the right to spew as much as they want to because they're all adults, as long as they're not over-exaggerating or lying about it, which in case of Glenn Beck is a bit, hopeless.
You may have heard the slur feminazi, popularized by Rush Limbaugh, a term used to discredit and demonize any woman fighting for social equality.
You're not fighting for equality, you're fighting for censorship.
The feminists, the feminazis, have been working for years to this end. Advance women by diminishing men.
Yeah. The straw feminist is set up to perpetuate and advance the myth that feminism is no longer needed.
Which it is, don't lie about it.
That we've arrived at gender equality, and anyone who disagrees is quickly demeaned and portrayed as an extremist.
Which they are, don't lie about it.
This trope represents a backlash against feminism and groups supporting women's rights. As we make more gains towards equality, the backlash gets stronger.
You have got equality, you're just complaining about movies and video games and all that sort. Which, face it, most people are sick and tired of your horse shit and they're telling you to shut the fuck up.
It's an old yet effective tactic, but clearly it's working because I often hear young women saying, I believe in the equal rights of women, but I'm not a feminist. This sentiment is a direct result of the straw feminist trope, because women want to distance themselves from the extreme and false representations they're seeing in TV, movies, and talk shows.
A big wooden cross. So every time you feel unappreciated for all your sacrifices, you can climb on up and nail yourself to it.
We need to practice proudly claim the title and fight back against the distorted and demeaning representations in the media and in real life. And if y'all really do believe in the equality of women, then we need to continue this long legacy of feminism and fight for it. And Hollywood, get over your fear of strong, smart, talented women and stop contributing to the backlash by writing absurd and ridiculous straw feminist characters.
And why don't you go out there and write your own characters with your own goddamn fucking standards rather than trying to silence people with censorship and saying this offends me, therefore you shouldn't say it. Because the more you try and control people's actions, the more pissed off they're gonna get and the more likely they are to tell you to go fuck yourself.
Now I'll leave you with Polly Bergen saying something pretty awesome on the otherwise unremarkable show Commander-in-Chief.
And I say, fuck you, we're ending the video how I want to end it. Take away Jean-Luc Picard and probably what is the best speech ever made.
You know, there are some words I've known since I was a schoolboy. With the first link, the chain is forged. The first speech censored, the first thought forbidden, the first freedom denied, chains us all irrevocably. Those words were uttered by Judge Aaron Satie as wisdom and warning. The first time any man's freedom is trodden on, we're all damaged.